This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Rock and roll.
Welcome back to the show. Yeah, we are ready to rock and roll here with our guest. Excited to talk more about unlimited potential, really acres of potential, right? Mark Anthony
Yes.
Thomas joining us here. Wake up and kick some ass. We're talking WUAKSA. Now, if you were starting completely fresh in the world where anything is possible, what would you love to do? Well, Mark Anthony Thomas is here today talking about where he helps create a space for honest conversation, look at fresh perspectives, and empower you to envision what is possible in your life. So let's do a little recap, if you don't mind, first of who you are, what you do, and we'll get to that. Go ahead, Mark Anthony.
Certainly. Thank you for that opening
You're
statement.
welcome.
So, right, Mark Anthony Thomas, WUAKSA, Wake Up and Kick Some Ass, and that's exactly what we do. We create a space for honest conversation. We just help people to envision what's possible in their lives. So we started out 3 weeks ago. This is our fourth week. First week, we talked about the meaning and purpose, how important it is to have meaning and purpose in your life. Then after that, the next week, we talked about negative self-talk and how negative self-talk can affect your mind, your body, and your spirit. Last week, we jumped into personal development. And we talked about the law of intentions. There were several laws we talked about. The law of intention, you have an intention to do things, but what comes with the law of intention is the law of diminishing returns. And that is, the longer you wait to do something that you're supposed to do now, the longer the odds are that you're not going to do it. So it's good to have intentions, but you got to push forward on those intentions. Next one, we talked about the law of awareness. No one can produce great things unless they are thoroughly sincere with dealing with themselves. And that is trying to understand who you really are, because going toward goals and things like that, some of these goals we want to accomplish are massive, but they require us to have a different mindset than the old mindset that we had from negative self-talk. So then we talked about the law of the mirror. You must see value in yourself in order to add value to yourself. And the mirror is just another form of self-awareness where you're beginning to understand who you really are and looking yourself intently. And two important aspects of the law of the mirror is personal development is the belief that you are worth the effort, the time, and the energy in investing in personal development. And number two, no factor is more important than a person's psychological development and motivation than the value judgments that they make about themselves. Sometimes people have a negative view of themselves, so they will not push forward to do the things that they want to do. Those unlimited potentials that are just waiting to be cultivated, they won't push through because they don't see themselves as worthy enough. So. And lastly, the law of reflection, which all the stuff that we're doing, all the mindset and changing and this and that, all that growth that's happening, sometimes we need to stop and let it pause and catch up to us, because it could be a whirlwind. We just need to sit down and relax, find out what's going well, what needs to be improved, and sometimes to get rid of things that are not even that are not worth your time, that they're holding you back. And you'll be able to tell that as you begin to do some reflection and sort through all that. So now, today, I want to talk about something that's very important. I think it affects everyone. That's consistency, the law of consistency. The quote was, motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing, And so what is consistency? From a personal development standpoint, it is the backbone for me, I believe, in personal development. It's about creating habits and routines that reinforce the goals that you set for yourself. Consistency is not about schedules or time blocking and things like that. Those are important, but consistency is just simple. Show up. Just show up to what you want to do. It's like going to the gym, physical fitness or physical development. There are often times when, initially we're just motivated, we're psyched, but that motivation always wanes a bit. It drops down. So how do you combat that dropping motivation? You have to be consistent. Just show up. Even let's see, how does one grow consistently? You have performance and you have um, growth. Everyone wants to perform well, but in order to perform at a level, you got to grow as well. You know, that's certain things that you got to accomplish within yourself in order to. Everybody wants to be an elite athlete. Well, you're not going to be an elite athlete if you're not consistent in going and training, and you're not going to be a good leader for your team at work if you don't learn how to grow yourself. So how do we do that?
Yeah.
There's several ways. And you ask yourself some questions: what, how, why, and when. So the first one is, what do you need to improve? You wake up in the morning with determination and you want to go to bed with satisfaction. And I found something interesting, and I want to read it. It says, focus on your determination each day. Wake
Okay.
up with intention to improve and go to bed feeling satisfied. That
Oh,
should be everyone's ultimate goal, is to wake up with intention.
yep.
Think about it, waking up and not having jack to accomplish, just nothing. You're just wasting, you just, I
You
can't
need
even fathom that.
motivation. You need a purpose. Yeah, like you say,
You
life
got
is
it.
in session. Are you present? Yeah, we got to talk about that. You need to have something that keeps you going, motivated, that keeps you happy, that keeps you healthy, that keeps your mind moving, let alone your physical body, right?
Exactly. And that's why I'm a big proponent of keeping the mind going. But I don't want, let's jump into the next step, which is how. How do you improve? You want to
Mm-hmm.
match your motivation to your
Yep.
personality. Now, I have access to what's called the John Maxwell DISC personality assessment. And there are many other assessments out there that people can take.
Okay.
But and DISC is simply dominant, influencing, steady, and
Yep.
compliant. And if someone wants to look that up, they can they can certainly do that. But what these personality tests do, they enhance your growth,
Mm-hmm.
um, and knowing what drives you can steer you in the right direction. Say if you're an extrovert, then you want to look for goals or things that deal with
Yeah.
social activities, things that bring, that you're working with people. But if you're an introvert, and if you start working toward activities that deal with a lot of people, you're not going to be happy because that's not you. That's not who you are. So personality tests are so important in learning who you are. And I like to say that sometimes when we find out who we are and what we want to do, start out slow, not with a fire hose.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just rushing in and rushing in. If you don't use if you don't use the reflection, the law of reflection, you're going to get discouraged. And then when you get discouraged, you stop. And when you stop, you're going to do that diminishing return again. You're not going to, I don't want to do it. And then you just don't do it. And then the last thing is value the growth process, because it is a process,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to understand it. You know what? I don't know everything. I just got to just do a little bit, learn a little bit, and do a little bit. That's what I like to say. Learn a little bit and then apply it. And then, as you know, you'll begin to move up the old motivation slope. I just made that up. Anyway, life goals are reached by setting annual goals. Annual goals are reached by reaching daily goals. And daily goals are reached by doing things that may be uncomfortable at first, but eventually become habits. And when I think of that, I think of I don't know if you've seen a graph: comfort zone, fear zone, the learning zone, and then
Mm-hmm.
the growth zone. So many people start in the comfort zone and
Oh
they go
yeah.
into the
All
fear zone.
most of us.
They,
Yeah.
yeah, and what happens is that, but then we get to the fear zone, and then we run back to the comfort zone because we're just
Mm-hmm.
what's scaring us. I like to say maybe sometimes when people go in the fear zone, they're trying to do too much, just do a little bit. And before you know it, you're inching into the learning zone. And once we get into the learning zone, we feel a little bit better. That weight is beginning to lift off. Then we get into the growth zone. Habits are powerful. They turn action into attitudes and attitudes into lifestyle. And that, for me, a lifestyle of learning and growth where you
Yeah.
can better yourself and then help other people as well, because that's what we're all put here for, to help other people. Last thing is, one of the things is why. Why do you want to improve? A strong why is the thing that keeps you motivated. That's
Yeah.
those intrinsic motivations, I believe, that those things are internal that drives you. Having a strong why also will help you to keep going when it gets tough. That's
Yeah.
the resiliency side of it. And then there is, so if your growth is connected to I think it's your values, your purpose, and your dreams, then you will know exactly why you're doing what you love. And I like to say doing what you love. A lot of people say, well, you're doing what you like, or you're doing what.
Mhm.
No, if your why is so deep, then you obviously loving it. And that's when all that comes to play, then you're in alignment with what it is you really, really want to do. And then the last thing is, I like to say, if your why is strong, quitting seems less of an option. Um, a famous coach, Vince Lombardi, he said, once you learn to quit, it becomes a habit. And how many people out there have quit? And we've quit.
Yeah.
I've quit some things.
Yeah.
Maybe you have too, but I don't make it a habit now. When you make it a habit, that means you have nothing. There was a comedian, Ron White, and he talks about his nephew, and he always says his nephew has a lot of quit in him. So I mean that's not a good thing to have. When you're always quitting all the time. But then that just helps you to avoid the habit of quitting, and we want to always do that. And when are you supposed to improve? Well, the right answer is right now. You want to improve right now. Nothing in your life will change until you change something that you do daily. You know, if you want to lose weight, then eating a quart of ice cream 3 times a day is not gonna, it ain't gonna help you. If you want to learn a specific task, not reading and learning what you want to learn it's not going to get there. So I always think 1% daily at 365 days. That's 365%. That's a nice ROI on in any stretch of the imagination. So discipline is a bridge between goals and accomplishments, and that bridge is always there. We're crossing it every day. Goals and accomplishments. Got a goal, I'm going to accomplish it. Boom, go back, goals and accomplishment. And I love that. So, wow.
Goals and
Any questions or
accomplishments.
any
Goals and
comments so
accomplishments.
far?
Got it. Do you hear? You there? Goals and accomplishments.
Goals.
Goals and accomplishments.
So,
No, it's so
what are
true.
you,
Well,
goal? I mean, it's just constant. And what are you doing daily that needs to change? Ask yourself that. And then
yeah.
what needs to be doing? There's certain things that need to be doing.
Well, a
But
lot of us have
but
these
then
habits, right? Some habits, and it's very hard to break
exactly,
habits, but I know you help people with that. Yeah. How do we do
exactly. And
this?
that's where the next
Oh, sorry to jump ahead.
how do you do it? And the next question, and I'm glad you brought that up. The next question is what needs undoing?
hmm
Everybody's got something that needs to be undone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much stuff there. So I'm glad you brought that up as well. So a quote that I thought was very important: if you develop the habits of success, you will make success a habit. And I like that. And I think everyone should strive for that. And the thing and this is not about me, but the thing that I want to do is as I begin to become successful and have that habit, I want to share that with other people before I leave this leave this earth. There are 18-year-olds and 19s and 20 and they have no idea what's going on and they think that the world it's lost. It's not lost. You just need to get in tune and find out who you are. And so Do we have enough time? Because I kind of want to talk about another
Yes,
topic that I
we
thought
have
was
more time for
very
sure. We got
important,
another
and
10
that's
minutes. Go for it.
person's
Yes, yes,
environment.
yes. Yes, go ahead.
Environment. Oh, damn, rock and roll. Okay, so environment. You know, um, the first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be captive to the environment that you're in. Some people are in environments that they want to get out. They need to get out because if they don't get out, they're not going to grow. And that
Mm-hmm.
environment is stifling them. There was a story in the book about a young lady who um, poverty. No one in her household went to school, graduated high school, and it was very hard for her. She eventually got out of it, and people ridiculed and mocked her. We'll talk about that later, but she made it. And that determination, intention, and determination. Maybe next week we'll talk about that story, but. There comes a time in one's environment that they need to grow, and in order to grow, they got to get out of the environment that they're in. Um, one can change without growing, but one cannot grow without changing, and that change depends on a choice. So the environment is one thing, but you choose to be there or you choose to leave. If you whichever, but it's your choice. Um, whether you are a success or a failure
Mm-hmm.
in life, it has little to do with your circumstances. It has much to do with your choices. Once again, it's all about choice. Everything in life is about choices. So I want to look at 6 choices to help put people in a better place of growth.
Yep.
So number one, you want to assess your current environment.
Okay.
That's important. Where are you now? And why do you want to change? Well, I want to get out because
Mm-hmm.
this shit ain't, excuse me, it's not working here,
No, I get it. I get
Number
it.
2, change yourself and your environment. Okay, change yourself and your environment. You change your environment and yourself at the same time, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
win-win. Sometimes you can change yourself, but not the environment. That's Your growth will happen. It'll be slow if you're in an environment, but if you're changing yourself and you're in an environment that is really not conducive. If you're resilient and you got the right mindset, you'll make it until a door opens. Sometimes, though, people will change their environment, but they won't change themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then where they're at, it's difficult. They're not like, oh wow, this is way too much stuff. This is the fire hose. Change who you spend your time with. King Solomon said,
Hmm.
"Walk with the wise and become wise. A companion of fools suffers harm." I like that. When you're with wise people, when you're people that uplift you, people that you can learn from, that that's so much that does so much for your psyche. You're around people that care about you and want to help you. Challenge yourself in a new environment. Seize the moment. Seize the growth opportunities you have, and challenge yourself. In every new environment, that it's going to be different than your last environment. Find those people that can
Mm-hmm.
help you and seize those opportunities that come up. And you will grow fast. Focus on the moment. Mother
Mm-hmm.
Teresa wrote, "Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has yet arrived. All we have is today. We got this day, this moment. So don't worry about yesterday. The past is gone. Obviously, the future, we're working toward the future, but we can't worry about that. We have to do what we're doing right now and move forward despite criticism. People are always going to criticize you. Ralph
Always.
Waldo Emerson said, "Oh yeah, for sure." I mean, because some people criticize you and tell you, "No, you can't do that," because they're afraid to branch out and do the things that you're trying to do. So Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Whatever course you take, there will always be those to tell you you are wrong. You can't listen to them because when you listen to them, you're already moving into the fear zone. But if you listen to them, you're gonna go right back to the comfort zone, and you will never advance in life. And I hate that they have so much
I
potential
know.
and you don't advance.
But you're
So
getting,
anyway, I'm
oh, go ahead.
I
What a
love your
delay.
background.
Thank
I
you.
love the
I'm
background.
not really in New York City, as you can tell, it's fake, but I love New York City. I
Oh,
love the
you're
good
not?
old Brooklyn Bridge. I love, no, this is my fake, but it's not my real background. I'm not in the city right now over the bridge. But no, I live in out Long Island, and we are New York City based and Long Island based. But today I'm at my home studio, so I have my little fake background up. But
Oh, okay.
you see that Freedom Tower, you
Cool. That's
see so
cool.
much potential, and I mean, New York City is just energizing, it really is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It seems energizing, and there's so many places that seem energizing. One thing I noticed, and people that I talk with, they allow the stuff that's going on,
Mm-hmm.
the politics and all that stuff.
Uh,
They allow all that stuff that's going on to dictate how they're
yeah,
feeling, what they're doing. Man, don't worry about that. My wife always tells me,
exactly.
sometimes I would get pissed off and I watch the news, and she would tell me, no one from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is asking you for any
Yeah.
of your advice. So
Mm-hmm.
be quiet, do what you're doing, just move
Love it.
forward, move forward. And when you do that, you're happier.
Yep.
You're living with intention,
Mm-hmm. And I love how you say
you're
nothing
taking
in
the
your life you say will change, right? Until you change something you do daily. So you're developing these great habits. You said 1% daily change equals 365%. I love that.
right, right. Just think about some
Yeah.
stock if that went from what 306. Man, what you could retire
Yeah.
50 lifetimes almost. So um I love it. WAKSA. We create honest space for conversations. We help people envision what's possible in their
Mm-hmm.
lives. We help them to seek clarity, motivation, and we also a strong support for people. So
Yep.
I just want to be a partner in that transformation. And so I want people to know, hey, let's get together. Let's wake up together and kick some ass. With my
Love it.
help, you can
Love
kick
it.
all
Love
the
it.
ass in the world.
Love it. And
Uh,
one of your, 6 choices to help us move forward. I love this one that says focus on the moment, the one that Mother Teresa wrote, right?
right.
Yesterday's gone, tomorrow has yet arrived. We have only today. That is like, wow. I love these quotes. They're so
Today.
inspiring, all of them. Which one's your favorite?
My favorite is King Solomon, for the moment. Now, next week it'll be something different. But I thought about, this morning I had men's breakfast, and these are a bunch of
Yeah.
wise guys, not wise guys, but they were
Yeah.
people that we can bounce off ideas on. And now next week it'll be something totally different. But today I thought about that before I was having the podcast. I said, man, I got a group of core guys that I can talk with. We can share ideas. They're a little older than I am, but
Yeah.
still that wisdom is there. So I like walking with the wise. Because I know what walking with fools can be. Trust me, I I was there, a long time ago, in my younger military days. I was I was betched. Anyway, I was crazy. Anyway,
No. Anyway, we still got a few more
so I
minutes
sure
here. I want people to be able to reach out to you and to contact you, obviously, because you're here kicking some ass and helping people wake up and realize their true potential. And how do we work with you?
Well, you can reach me at WAKSA today at gmail.com. Or they can call me at 601-513-4677. And and if they're on LinkedIn, they can catch me on LinkedIn as well. Just Mark A. Thomas. It's easy. And my name will come up and they can find me there. But the two main are my email and my phone number.
Perfect. And one
And I
more
look
time, what's
forward
that? What's that number?
601-513-4677.
Perfect.
And also, if they were interested in the DISC personality assessment,
Yes, tell
I
me some.
have they can get me, they can reach out with me on that. We can talk about it, and I can send them a key code, um, and they will take the assessment. It'll come to their email address, and it's about a 20 page report. and it breaks it all down. It has a graph on um, where they are. Are they a D, a S, or an I, or a C? D being dominant, someone who's always looking for results. I is a social, influencing person. S is a steady person. They just like to, not they just like to do their thing. And then a C, a compliant. These are people who like processes and things of that nature. So some people may not know what their personality type is. And like I said, it helps. It opens the doors. It lets them know, wow, I didn't realize that. Or they may read it like I did. Wow. So that's why I am the way I am. And it's just it's fascinating how these personality tests are, and how accurate they are in one's personality. And we got to know who we are before we can really grab all we can.
Got
I
it.
just made that up, So
No, got it. Well, thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here, and we will hopefully connect again next week. And always a pleasure having you.
I think
Oh,
I
go
think
ahead. Are we
next
back?
week. I think next week.
Oh, good.
Next week. It'll be the
Perfect.
last one, I believe. I believe it'll be the
Oh my
last one.
gosh. Okay. And don't forget, check him out, WUAKSA today. Pleasure having you once again. And go kick some ass today. And let's really get motivated to start to try to change our habits for the better and live our best life. I know that's always the goal for, that you want your clients, your
Always.
people, your friends, your family, and strangers out there. Let's get started. But you're very motivated, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you again.
Thank
Bye.
you so much, Jill. You have a nice weekend. Be
You
safe.
too, sweetheart. Thank you for being so thorough. Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.